What is up, RotoGrinders? Happy Monday. Happy Movie Monday. Start of 2 hours nonstop MLB DFS conversation starts right now. My stealth head chopper take you guys up to crunch time. Crunch time coming in 6 o'clock on the dot. It is an early start time. That's why we're starting early. It's 4:45, of course, on the East Coast. 6:40 first pitch. We may or may not get a first pitch in Pittsburgh. We'll see. Stay tuned on that. Currently orange as far as the weather in Pittsburgh. I'll go ahead and drop this weather report in chat for the people. I don't think this has been updated in the last. I did give it a refresh just a bit ago. So, yeah, I think we're still orange in Pittsburgh. Everything else is looking clean. 9-gamer. Again, somewhat dicey there. Straight orange in Pittsburgh. The Marlins, the Fish taking on the Pirates. Chop, happy Monday. How are things? Oh. Chop, we have a whole you could have done that a minute ago. You saving that?
I'm doing my impression from Along Came Polly or whatever that with Philip Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
So you don't remember that scene?
You didn't just shark, did you?
Oh man, what a great actor that guy was. R.I.P.
One of my favorites, like legitimately one of my favorites. It's just the best.
I mean, it's Monday. It's good to, fun weekend, Dean. It was a lot going on, and now we're back to the Monday grind of baseball. I don't mind it at all. I like it. I've said it before. So Monday, let's do it, Dean. We're June the 9th. We ain't that far away for some football, believe it or not.
It's coming soon. It's coming soon for sure. I've drafted some best ball teams. I know that's like poison to you. I'm not the best ball stand. I'm not going to sit here and push it on you. It's just fun. I just enjoy the drafting process and, something to monitor throughout the season. But, yeah, I'm excited. Certainly excited for football season. Is it right around the corner? I don't know, 80 days? What are we at, 75 days? I haven't officially, checked the calendar and things of that sort. But soon, I suppose it's coming soon. I care about, it's hockey season for me. Going to the game tonight, Chop, you encouraged me. You encouraged me.
Oh, you going? The game.
We're going to the game. We're going to the game tonight.
Where are you sitting, Dean? What section? What does it look like?
Low. I mean, it's somebody else. Lower bowl. I think like maybe 10 or 15 rows up or something like that.
Oh.
I think we have good seats. I wasn't in charge of that.
Where'd you get? Oh, you put the onus back on your brother.
He insisted and he hooked it up. So I was like, all right. TJ is saying big money Dean. No, that was not big money Dean. I paid for the parking pass, which is $80, which is weird because you could just park at the mall across the street, which is a lot of people do. Like one of the biggest the world's largest outlet mall, or one of the largest. They tout it, the Sawgrass Mills Mall, but they also try to crack down on it. It's a whole thing. So whatever. It broke down about a parking pass.
From my personal experience, which has been quite extensive in the last 5 years or so, I don't think I'll ever, certain venues are different, but for the big stuff like that, I don't think I'll ever not Uber to a stadium from somewhere. Like, I don't know, there's different ways you can go about it, but I don't think I'll ever not Uber again, man.
We thought about this, Chop. We thought about this, and the tricky part is getting there, not an issue, but when everybody's leaving at the same time, good luck getting an Uber on the way out. You have to walk like a mile left or right and then get an Uber.
Really?
Is that what you're going to say?
No, I was going to say, I thought you meant like the crowd, the crowd thing. Yeah. Well, first of all, my son goes to concerts.
Yeah.
And he found the trick, which is you absolutely research the concert, and you know if you research what the last song is.
Okay.
And you can leave and you can beat everybody, and you just missing like a half a song. So he's got that one down. As far as like, going to a game at the Alamo Dome or something, I just when that thing looks like, oh man, okay, let's beat the crowd. It's time to beat the crowd, Dean. And get some of the stuff isn't too bad, but yeah, I don't know. You gotta figure out the little things.
I did that in Atlanta when UCF played against was it Auburn? When they won the national championship with Griffin. He had the sack. I was at that game, and we did Uber out of there, but it was a process because we waited to the end, and I think we actually stuck around a little bit longer because we assumed it would be a bit of a mess. But all right, let's talk about tonight's slate. It is a movie Monday. TJ says congrats. You could see McDavid score a goal, and the Oilers win tonight. Maybe McDavid is awesome. He's not to get on a whole hockey rant, you don't have to know anything about hockey. You just turn the game on and watch it for 5 minutes and say, who is this big dude that's going that fast? You can just tell he's different. He's huge. Obviously, he's super skilled, but he's like incredibly fast as well. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, best player in the world, even if he doesn't win the cup this year. But yeah, should be a fun series. 1-1, game 3 tonight. All right. Let's give a first clue. First clue today for Movie Monday. Let's do that. Let's honor the people that have showed up on time. Do want to say what's up to those hanging out in chat. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Please turn on those notifications so you know when we go live. So there's people right now that didn't turn on notifications. They're not watching the show because they don't know we're going live today at 4:45. They're thinking, 5 o'clock. We got 10 minutes. You're missing all the good stuff there now, obviously. Also, there's a poll waiting for you as well in regards to Spidey bombs. We may or may not get Spidey bombs. We'll see what TJ and Spidey have to say about that. Do answer that poll. The first clue is picture. Picture is the first clue, Chop, for today's Movie Monday. We have 2 really good pitchers throwing baseballs tonight. Zach Wheeler had a child. So shout out to him and his family. Taking on a tough Cubs team. We saw the Cubs. They can be shut down. We saw what happened yesterday with Jack Flaherty. Of course, they're pretty imposing, especially the front half of that lineup. Chris Sale, better matchup there against Milwaukee. And then there's like a bunch of pitchers that are kind of sort of fine. Pavetta's pretty good, but he's facing the Dodgers. It's a lot of like the best pitchers facing better offenses. Pavetta taking on the Dodgers, tough matchup. You got Wheeler taking on the Cubs, really tough matchup. And so I guess Sale is the best pitcher just by default as far as skills. And offensively, we have one team with a team total above 5, just one. That is the Diamondbacks against Emerson Hancock. Everybody else in the 4s and the 3s. There's no incredible weather as far as hitting baseballs today. We're not in St. Pete. We're not in Sacramento. We're not in Coors. The weather's not great in Boston. By the way, apparently, I'm seeing a lineup for Boston. It does not include Roman Anthony, but apparently he was called up, and apparently he's actually playing, but he's not in the lineup that I'm seeing. It doesn't matter so much because he's not available in the player pool. But the national nightmare there for the Boston Red Sox fans. They got Roman Anthony, biggest prospect in all of baseball, hit a grand slam the other day, 500 feet, and I guess finally that triggered. Okay, maybe. I mean, they're probably doing like as far as contracts and all that. I assume that's what's going on there. That's the reason why he wasn't called up just yet. Abreu is going on the IL for what it's worth. I guess that'll be adjusted, and I don't really know. On FanDuel, I assume Anthony's not in the pool either. He's definitely not in DraftKings. Chop, give me the screenshot. How are you seeing this 9-gamer? And again, keep an eye on the Marlins in Pittsburgh. A little bit noteworthy for the Marlins. Yuri Perez, first start of the season, just an awesome player, electric arm, coming back from major surgery. He's had I think 8 starts in the minors. Not sure how much he'll get pushed, but he's a guy that could theoretically strike out like 8 in 4 innings against the Pirates. And the SP2s aren't great, so he's kind of in my pool. If we get the go-ahead that we can actually throw pitchers out there. What do you got, Chop?
Well, the overview is there's, like you said, 2 elite pitchers. There's also some really good pitchers after that in the next tier down. So you got plenty of pitching. And at the same time, you flip over to the hitters, and there's a lot of spots to choose from the hitters too. So I think this one's just you could do a lot of different types of roster construction with this slate. Should be fun. Should be interesting to sit down and hand build, and see how it all plays out. But there's options everywhere, like all over for pitching, hitting, high and low on both sides salary. So yeah, that's the overview. It should be much more interesting than some of the slates we've had recently.
Boney in chat is telling me Anthony is 2,200 on FanDuel. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I would be in on that. Again, it's weird. Our official lineup doesn't have him, and when it was dropped, like the lineup came out and they're calling him up came out at the same exact time. So I'm not seeing him in there, but I assume that this will change. Let me know in chat if you guys see there. TJ, I don't know if you know.
You're assuming what will change?
I'm assuming that Anthony's going to be in the lineup.
It's going
to be reflected. Yeah, because if you look at the lineups page, he's not in there right now. But he's also being reported as to be batting 5th tonight for Boston. Not available on DK, but if you're to trust Boney in chat.
Yeah, he's 2,200.
$22 in the FanDuel pool, which is you just play him. You just play him at $2,200.
So one thing you can do with prospects, sometimes it works. A lot of times it works. Some or the rare occasion it doesn't work. But sometimes what you can do is you can tell a prospect is going to be good just by the name. Roman Anthony is a really solid baseball name. So I think the kid's probably got some legs.
Pete Crow Armstrong.
Kyle and Preston Tucker. I mean, geez, that's good. Those are good baseball names.
Yeah, Shane Baz is a good name.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for your first assignment in the bigs to go against Shane Baz. So I don't know. I guess we'll talk about that later. But interesting matchup right there.
I saw a question in chat asking about Chris Taylor. Will he be a good play if he's in the lineup? Is he a good play? Like, is he good? Not really. Is he a good play? Kinda, because he helps you get there. He's super, super cheap. And, the Angels, in my estimation, one of the better offenses to play today. So I don't think he's good, but he's also somebody I'm very willing to play. If there's one argument against it, he might be one of the more popular cheapies on the board. So, there's kind of push-pull. He's not good, but he's cheap. So he's good, sort of. You just need one. You just need one base knock out of him, and all of a sudden you're happy. And with rostering him at 2.2K, and it's not necessarily what he gets you, but it's what he helps you get, as far as the savings and the salary. We have most of the lineups. No Marlins lineup just yet, which is weird because that game starts in like an hour and a half or so. The later games, of course, no Dodgers, no Padres, no A's, no Angels, and no Mariners, no D-backs. Harper went on the IL if you guys missed that, weakening the Phillies lineup. I think Otto Kemp was the guy they called up for Harper. I'm pretty sure he's the guy they called up. I could be wrong, but he is in the lineup for what it's worth. All right. Chop, pitchers. Do you have a decision point when it comes to Zach Wheeler versus Chris Sale? Do you want to include Pivetta? I don't think you include Pivetta. In
that tier, no. Definitely not going to include Pivetta in that particular tier. But so that's the two up top that, tier one guys pretty easily, Sale and Wheeler. And the point that, shifts me to Sale is the matchup period. Milwaukee's not particularly all that imposing, especially against left-handers this year. They have a severe lack of power against left-handers, and Sale's got that 30+% K rate, so he should be good. I just don't want to face the Cubs. I know they fell on hard times against arguably
Flaherty.
Not just Flaherty, but just arguably the best overall pitching staff in baseball. When you talk about the starters combined with the relievers, that's a tough weekend matchup. So, and Wheeler's no walk in the park, but they're still a really good offense. And so that's the tiebreaker for me. Give me Sale because of the matchup, and those are your tier twos. Then there's several guys under that really have some potential tonight. And there's just no way I'm going to be able to go Sale and Wheeler in the same lineup. Can't do it, won't do it. It's too much money at pitchers. So you got to save money with SP2 on DraftKings. There's a lot of candidates there, Dean. Pivetta being one of them, although he's kind of pricey for a tier two guy, but he's there. I don't mind the matchup tonight. I know the Dodgers are tough, but Pavetta's pretty good too. But I don't think I'll go there because I got my eyes on some cheaper guys, Dean, that I think can fill that SP2 spot. Starting with Matt Boyd. I think that's a good matchup against Philly. I think I looked at his numbers today a little bit because he's been around for about 10 years. He's really been really solid these last few years. Like his numbers haven't really it's not like what he's doing this year or anything is some anomaly. He's done it for several years now. So Matt Boyd, right, he can strike guys out. Matt Boyd is the left-hander, and he's pretty effective against lefties. And, that's one thing you kind of need to do against Philly is be able to neutralize those big, good lefties. So I think Matt Boyd's in play here big time. He'll be in my short list for SP2, as will Luis L. Ortiz, not to be confused with the other Luis Ortizes. Luis L. Ortiz. Cincy, man, they just kind of stink on offense outside of Great American Ballpark. Like, that's a scary park to play at, but the offense itself stinks. and Luis Ortiz can strike guys out. I got the numbers on him. He was interesting to me, but
CES is Combo LITE though. He's hit a homer his first 3 games. For what it's
worth.
He's
good.
I agree with you.
I've been playing. By the way, you want to talk about cheap on FanDuel? He's been like 2,400 for a week since he first came back on FanDuel. I played him every time because he just jumps out at that price tag, and he keeps homering. So he's getting that's a good hitter. But in general, I was running the Cincy numbers earlier. They're just not good. And the ballpark at Great American Ballpark is what scares you, but we don't have to worry about that tonight. The 3.8 team total, implied team total for Cincy is telling you a lot of what Vegas thinks is going to happen here. Ortiz is going to struggle with walks. He usually does, but if he can get past that, he still strikes out guys at over a 25% clip, so he can strike guys out. Doesn't give up very much in the home run department. So he's in pretty good shape here, man. I do like Luis Ortiz here. He's got a little something. A little something there on his stuff. And then the last one in this particular tier that I'm thinking about playing is Merrill Kelly, just because it's Seattle. They're not all that great. And Merrill Kelly's been really good recently, so I think Merrill Kelly's in play. And then we could talk about some guys after that, but they're a tier down from these guys.
My shell lineup that I made has Kelly as my SB2. Seattle, it really gets rough on the back end. They just dropped somebody. They called up Canzone, I believe. Somebody just got kicked off the team for Seattle. I don't think we have a lineup just yet, but I think we saw a DFA. Tavares. Tavares is Tavares was DFA'd. So Canzone is now projected to crack that lineup. Well, there's our first Spidey bump. Cattell Marte at 5-1. It seems like a really, really good number. I like that number, 5-1 there for Cattell, taking on Emerson Hancock. Again, Arizona. We'll talk about stacks soon enough. Arizona is the team with the biggest total on the board. The only team with a 5+ total, 5.37, according to our lineups page. If I give it a refresh, is that going to change? Still 5.37. That is where we're at there. Kelly's been in good form of late as well. Feels like everybody gets a shot at getting that W, assuming he can last, 5 innings, which he should. That's kind of what he does. You mentioned Seattle. Obviously, there's big dumper. Kyle Raleigh, who's just will not stop. Is he at 25 now? Is it 24? Is it 25? He just will not stop banging out his homers. J-Rod's pretty good. Polanco's pretty solid. The back half is really rough, though. Assuming it's Canzone and Young and Williamson, Rowdy will strike out plenty. Of course, there's some power in that bat. Same deal with Arozarena, 30% Ks this year versus righties as well. So I do like Kelly. I didn't feel a need to jump up there and get Wheeler. I think I could, but I don't think I'm forcing that. I thought you were going to mention Kikuchi possibly. Every time it's the same deal with him is, can he avoid walk, homer? Walk, homer. He just can't throw strikes sometimes. You look at the slate, he's got the biggest walk rate on the slate, 12.9%. He gives up a fair bit of fly balls as well. This Sacramento team, they're weakened right now. It's not their best iteration for their lineup. Rooker, I guess if you're afraid of anybody, you're afraid of Rooker. He looks really good, but the righty power. Wilson's not a big power guy. Schumann not a big power guy. Muncy and Arias, I guess maybe we'll see. But I considered it, but I just didn't think it was necessary. That's kind of what I concluded. I don't think a lot of lineups. If he's in your 150, sure, whatever. But I just hate the walks. They're just brutal. He just does not throw strikes. And it gets him in trouble. That's what happened to the last start. I think he was cruising. He had to get walk, homer in his last inning. And that just really bites you. Kikuchi, anybody else that's worth acknowledging as far as the pitchers? May, not a great strikeout pitcher. San Diego, not a great strikeout opponent. And he's not cheap. I think he's fine from a run prevention perspective. Baz versus Bayo. Good weather there for pitching, it looks like. I was looking at Weather Edge. Let me give it a refresh, see if that's changed. It probably did change the last few minutes ago. So 108 games in Fenway, 10 miles per hour as far as the wind coming in from basically dead center, 60 to temp, 54 the dew. Homers down at 23%, runs down to 5.7%. So they're two pitchers, Chop, that we both I shouldn't speak for you. I just want them to be better. I want them to be better than their numbers. and I feel like they should be. Bayo's awesome at getting ground balls. No strikeouts, though, which is kind of a problem. Any interest in those guys? Baz, Bayo, or Kikuchi?
Kikuchi? Nah. I mean, there's, I guess, last man in, I've got a certain amount of money left, and he fits perfectly, maybe. But then again, I'd probably just do a Luis Ortiz at that price range anyway. So probably not on Kikuchi. Definitely not on Bayo. I'm not on that. Too many walks. I mean, his walk rate is almost as high as the strikeout rate. That's a red flag. At least Kikuchi can get in these zones, man, where he's getting like 8 or 9 strikeouts and offset some of the earned runs. Bello doesn't do that. So, no. But Shane Baz has very, very good stuff. I'm always a sucker for a guy who's got that kind of stuff. So, and like you said, I think the lineup is weakened for Boston, and Baz gets out of that little league park, and he gets into some, like you said, some good pitching weather tonight.
Roman Anthony though is back, so you're not seeing it right now, but Roman Anthony is in there.
He is. Where are you getting that from?
Twitter.
Okay, so they must have changed. So they had a confirmed lineup, and they went back and changed it.
Okay. I assume.
But then again, like I mean, first game though, like who knows? Who knows if that's even a good thing? That could be good for Baz. That could be like a couple of nervous strikeouts from the kid. I don't know. So yeah, I think Baz is in the mix because he has that good stuff. Dustin May, he has good stuff too. I don't like picking on the Padres, but Dustin May certainly in play. And I kind of wrote off Jose Barrios after some poor stuff, the previous seasons, but he kind of found some sort of footing here to where he can be all right at times. And I don't think St. Louis is particularly, daunting. And the weather tonight, or the weather in general at St. Louis, is
slightly positive.
Yeah, that doesn't even move the needle. In general, this ballpark favors pitching. When it's not that really good middle of the summer weather, it kind of favors pitching in general for this ballpark. So Barrios probably a little bit in play, but I mean, I'm running one lineup. I won't get to Barrios, but I could see where somebody would play him. That's it. That's my list. You heard them all. If it didn't come out of my mouth, I ain't playing them.
The only thing against Barrios is that St. Louis lineup is really contact heavy. 19% striking out collectively versus righties. Most of them are in the green with the exception of Gorman and Scott and Contreras. We did get an update, by the way, as far as the weather there in Pittsburgh. It's still orange. I'm just going to go ahead and read the weather update. Rain and storms are scattered. Some of the rain may be heavy, causing a delay. The difficult part is the pitching. If they delay mid-game, they may play indoor pitchers. That may play indoor pitchers. Other than this game, no other issues are expected around the league today. So, yeah. I want to play Yuri Perez a little bit, but
do you?
I do. I think he's an uber talent. I'm a big fan.
I mean, yeah, but do you don't? I'm thinking like 4 innings. You're good with that?
I think he can throw 80. I think he can throw 80 pitches.
Now the answer on my hot take was that he only goes 4, but he gets 7 Ks and doesn't give up any runs, so he could still get there. But I'm a little.
I kind of take that.
I'm kind of probably a little. Well, the price tag is
it's not bad.
Where are we
7K.
at? What? Yeah, but he's in the same range to me as Ortiz, and I'd probably rather go Ortiz on DraftKings. And let me see. What is he? Yuri Perez on FanDuel must be pretty cheap. Oh, 75. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably rather go other guys. I'm just a little scared of the innings limit, but yeah, I definitely think he's gonna whatever he does tonight is gonna be electric.
I think he's better on DK than FanDuel because there's basically no chance of being the top pitcher on FanDuel, just none. And he's basically no chance of getting a quality start. Like they're not going to let him go 6 innings. So I wouldn't play him over there. I like him as an SB2 on DK. Our projections have him 80 pitches. I'm curious what the bat has. 79. So yeah, I would take the under probably an 8. I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance he gets to 80. I think if you sim it out 1,000 times, you're probably under more than over. But I could see him throwing, again, if there's any weather issues, if there's any delay, there's no chance they're bringing him back out. There's no chance he gets, they're kid gloves all the way. If there's like an hour delay, no shot. Like there's no reason to. Marlon's obviously going nowhere. He's their biggest prize prospect. If you want to call him that. Well, he was great a couple of years ago. And Tommy John, he was good in the minors. They get 8 starts in the minors. Numbers are pretty solid. And of course, the Pirates stink. I guess we just kind of know that. Second clue today for Movie Monday. I don't think we had a winner just yet. Did not get a chance to peek into the live stream chat. I didn't mention it. The people know by now. Jump over to the live stream chat channel. This is where you give your answer for Movie Monday. You get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium if they're the first person to answer correctly. Only one guess per clue drop. The second clue is sign. Picture and sign. All right. That is our first 2 clues. Another one coming up momentarily. Giving away a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. That's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, WNBA, everything with the exception of NASCAR. All right. We're going to do our tiers here in a second. We're going to assume that Pittsburgh and the Marlins play. Okay, new lineup is out. No more Hamilton. Okay, so yeah, we officially have Anthony in, and David Hamilton was kicked out. All right, just giving a refresh. Duran, Devers, Toro, Story, Anthony Campbell, Meyer. Yeah, Anthony Campbell, Meyer. What are they all, 21, 22 years old, basically? The 5, 6, 7. Rafaela, and then Wong in the 9-hole, taking on Shane Baz. Chop, you came to me today for today's tiers. You said it's super obvious. We're celebrating a big holiday. I don't know how you celebrate it in the Chop household, but it's National Earl Day, which I don't. What does one do on National Earl Day? I don't know. What did you do to celebrate? And we're going to we power rank some Earls. It was hard finding some Earls, I gotta say.
What? It was quite easy, Dean. We did that board in like 2 minutes.
I just realized if we left off, isn't Earl Grey like a tea guy?
Isn't that yeah, but
Earl Grey tea.
Yeah, that probably would have been near the bottom of my tier board. Personally,
you're not a big tea guy.
I like tea, or just not Earl Grey tea.
Oh, that's your tea is more specialized, and you don't like the nonsense for the masses.
No, I like some. Like I got a first off, I've got to have decaf tea. So Earl Grey really specializes in the heavily dosed caffeines and black teas. I can't have the caffeine, so I like the decaf stuff. So that's the main thing. And then plus some of the flavors are just gross from Earl Grey. But anyway, I digress. He's not on the board.
I see the chat is participating. Yeah, we didn't get the Pearl either. He was in the list, but he didn't crack it for whatever reason. Great nickname, by the way, Earl the Pearl Monroe. Wouldn't be the Pearl if his name was like John Monroe, right? Wouldn't be, no chance. But he's Earl, so he's Earl the Pearl.
Back in the day, they did nicknames the right way, and I guess they just kind of ran out after a while, and people get weird. Yeah. So he would have been like John Juan Monroe.
Chris Kirk is saying Earl Weaver. He was on the board but did not make the final cut. The former manager for Baltimore. But Chop, you want to take him through our board for Earls?
Just do it. Pull up the board.
Oh, the Earl of Sandwiches. We blew that. That guy should have got the Duke of Earl. Sandwiches. The dude invented sandwiches.
I mean, we're all over. There's a lot of names in very limited spaces, Dean. You can't have them all. You know what I'm saying? All right, so tier 1, Earl Campbell. Come on, the Tyler Rose, one of the greatest running backs of all time. I mean, I don't know about everybody else in here, but I've always been a sports fan. Like since I could remember, I've been a sports fan. And back in the day, before we had all this crazy, disgusting internet and all this other stuff, we actually read books and stuff, like that. And he used to pick up books on like running backs and Super Bowls and all kinds of sports stuff. And any running back material.
Books. What are books?
Yeah, exactly.
Describe books. What do you mean?
Crazy. People don't even know what books are these days. But any good book you had on running backs, Earl Campbell was in it. So he's just always been that guy, man. Earl Campbell, great. So he got to be tier 1. Earl Simmons, a.k.a. DMX, tier 2, RIP DMX. So like he has some bangers, man. He had some bangers. So
Love his dogs.
Yeah, he got some bangers, man. So, and then you wanted Earl Boykins neutral. Okay, we'll give him Earl Boykins neutral.
Well, here you go. Earl Boykins was 5'5", and he played over 10 years in the NBA. Shout out to him. Like that's I mean, right there. I mean, that you got to give a shout out for that. That's pretty impressive, no?
Yeah, he's made the board. Good for him. He's there, man. I ain't discounting his accomplishments. My name is Earl. What a fun little show that was for a while. So, wait a minute.
I never watched it. Is it good?
Why did you put My Name is Earl in 4? I didn't even double check this list. That's a good show. Come on, B.
Well, 4 is not a great spot. You should have told me, like, hey, maybe it shouldn't be in 4. It's actually good.
There's a lot of bad Earls out there. You could have.
I could have went with Goodbye Earl, the song by the Chicks. What else did I have on my list? Earl Monroe. Well, I don't know. My list wasn't very thorough. It wasn't very good, but yeah. You like My Name is Earl, huh? I mean, I feel like it doesn't have like a legacy. Nobody ever talks about it. Not in my circles.
Well, most shows don't have a legacy, but it was entertaining. That guy's funny. I forget Jason Lee. Is that his name?
Jason Lee. Yeah, okay. We knew him from like the Kevin Smith stuff, right? Clerks, right?
Yeah, he's good. He's a funny guy. And then we put Earl Hebner as tier 5. Why? I mean, most people won't get this, but if you're a wrestling guy, he was the referee in the Montreal screw job with freaking
Bret Hart.
Yeah, and Bret Hart.
Shawn Michaels.
When Bret Hart did when he got, I mean, it was totally unplanned. You know, the spit was real. He spit at Vince McMahon. That was the real deal. He was pissed. It was his last match in the WWE. I think it was last match before he left for the WCW, and then they screwed him up. So we put him there. In chat, I'm seeing Matthew says Earl the Goat Manigault. Great show, man. Great show. You ever seen that one? I don't even know. It's called Rebound: The Legend of Earl Manigault. Earl, he was a playground legend. I don't think you could even find it except for maybe watching it on YouTube or something. But Rebound: The Story of Earl Manigault. What a great show that was. So.
Don Cheadle, James Earl Jones.
Don Cheadle's breakout. That was his first role I've ever seen Don Cheadle. I didn't even know who Don Cheadle was. Saw that movie and I was like, whoa.
I think it was an HBO movie, according to the.
Yeah, I don't know if you could find it, but that's a good one. That's a good one to watch. But yeah, lots of good stuff out there. Lots of good Earls. I don't.
Earl Anthony the bowler. We shafted him too.
Yeah. Well, not everybody can make the board.
Yeah, there's only 5. There's only 5 spots. I like the shout out for Earl Hebner. He had a twin brother, and they ran Earl Hebner had a twin brother, and they ran a story with, like, I think one of the refs was bad or whatever. I don't know. Feel free to go down that rabbit hole. The Earl Hebner, he's one of the more famous wrestling referees. I've heard of him over the years. Like you said, he was in the ring for one of the more memorable things, I suppose, with the Bret. You ever watch that the documentary of Bret Hart? And it's kind of like it's around that. God, what is it called? TJ should know it. He's Canadian, but yeah, give it a Google. There's a good documentary on Bret Hart. But and somebody will chat. We'll throw it out there in just a second. But let's throw some teams and some tiers. Let's do it now. His brother Dave Hebner. There you go, Mr. Richard. I told you that Earl Hebner had a brother. They would switch referees. It was a whole thing. Okay, the Marlins and the Pirates. Marlins no lineup just yet. The Marlins just kind of assuming this game's running out. I don't know what's going on, but for some reason they are not putting out a lineup. Are they waiting on somebody that I'm not aware of? I don't know. Yuri Perez taking on Mike Burrows. Big ballpark, not a great ballpark for hitting. I already talked about liking Yuri Perez a good bit. Burrows can be okay. I don't know a heck of a lot about him, but he might be fine. And obviously, neither of these offenses are very good. If this game plays, if you get the go-ahead, or if you want to be ambitious in tournaments, where do you want to throw the Pirates and the Marlins?
Not a very fun offensive game here. We're not even thinking about the weather, which could be a disaster. Just doesn't seem like a fun offensive game for me. I got both teams in tier 4. Both of them going down in tier 4. Just not a fan of, especially attacking Yuri Perez, who I think is, for as long as he's going to be in there, is going to be really good. And Burrows hasn't been terrible at all. He's not been great, but he hasn't been terrible. So I don't like tier 4 for both these teams.
Yeah, that's where I would be at. And especially if it stays orange, like none of it seems necessary to push, risk reward thing and just cross them out. If it was perfect weather, I still wouldn't play either one of these offenses. Maybe like some minis or something like that. Wrestling with Shadows. Thank you. There. That's what it was called. The Chop. Feel free to check that out. The documentary, pretty interesting. Wade Miley. He's not going to throw a bunch of baseballs, but he's starting today for the Reds, taking on Luis Ortiz. 8.5. It's a total. Cleveland, one of the bigger totals on the board. Almost 5. 4.75 versus Miley. Not sure who the piggyback's going to be. Maybe it's just a full bullpen beyond that. But CES, we mentioned, is really cheap. He's still only 3K on DK. You talk about how cheap he is on FanDuel. He's cheap on DraftKings as well. We have cheap catcher alert and David Fry. David Fry in the 4-hole. I wanted to see what the chances of him getting pitch hit for when that righty comes in. A little bit on alert for that. But to start the game, at least, he's in a great spot. How do you feel about the Reds and the Guardians?
Well, the Reds, I've already said how much I do have an affinity for rostering Luis Ortiz tonight. So just by that particular logic, I don't like the Reds that much. Reds are a tier 4 for me. And it's Cleveland where I think we can make some ground up here. I got Cleveland in tier 2. Wade Miley hadn't pitched much recently. So, the sample size on him is going to have to go back to a while back. I don't think it's very fair. We don't really know what we're going to see from him. So I just don't think he's going to be particularly effective or good. And as much as I don't like the Cleveland lineup in general, they got to go in tier 2 because I think this is going to be a pretty solid matchup, followed by a pretty below average bullpen. So they're looking interesting tonight.
For what it's worth, I took a peek at the bat. Shout out there at Carty. Do you support the bat? Carty's going to be on in about 40 minutes or so as well. Not just Carty, but it's going to be STL Cards and Dave Potts CheeseIsGood. So that's going to be a fun show for sure. 58% pitch hit chance for Jonathan Rodriguez in the 7-hole. So he's super cheap, but again, he might only get 2 at-bats. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but certainly seems like a pretty clear case of a pinch hit alert if the situation calls for it. Fry at 27%. So just thought that was worth noting. Fry 27%, Rodriguez at 58%. Put that in your back pocket. We do have the third clue for Movie Monday scrolling as well. I don't think we have a winner just yet. I'm taking a peek. I know producer TJ is on top of it. The third clue, Chop, is Sing. You have guessed something called Tattoo, which is a movie, I guess. I'm not sure if I'm aware of that. It's not that. You also guessed the Da Vinci Code. It is not the Da Vinci Code. But that is your first 3 clues. Pitcher, Sing, and Sign. All right. Do jump in the Discord. Tell me what movie. I'm talking about 1 guess per clue drop. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Let's move along. Let's scoot along. It's the Cubbies. It's the Phillies. 7.5 total here for these two offenses. 7.5 total for a game with the Cubs. Well, Zach Wheeler's throwing baseballs. He's really good. Boyd's pretty good too. There's no Bryce Harper for the Phillies, and Wheeler, again, probably the best pitcher. 1A, 1B, depending on how you look at it as far as skill. Taking on a Cubs lineup that sure has plenty of power, but Wheeler certainly can shut them down as well. There is a little bit of leverage here if you want to play that route because Wheeler is going to be popular. How do you feel about Chicago and Philly?
Not particularly good. Good enough to where I would only put Philly in tier 4, against Matthew Boyd, just in case they can get a piece of the lefty. So Philly's a tier 4. Chicago against Wheeler, not seeing it, man. I mean, I know they're a good offense, but they're a tier 5 for me. Zach Wheeler is good enough, even on a average day for him. That's 7 innings, and I need upside. Stacking is all about upside, man. There's a lot of different. It's a whole different conversation as to why you stack in baseball. Some say correlation, some say, different aspects of it. But at the bottom line of it, you need some sort of upside in your stack. You're going out there and scoring 3 runs, it's not going to cut it. And I think that we're headed for 4 runs isn't going to, 4 runs from your stack isn't going to win you a GPP. 4 runs from a team isn't going to win. How many runs can the Cubs get tonight?
4 solo homers.
And you'd have to have those 4 perfect guys in your stack. There's a lot going on there. So You kind of need volume of runs is at the core of a good stack. Volume of runs. With then we start getting extra base hits and all that other stuff. I just don't think it's going to be there against Wheeler, so they're a tier 5 for me.
The chat is already speculating, Chop, as far as today's BBP suggestion. I can't imagine it's Carlos Santana because those numbers are from like 10 years ago, probably. But it's just a suggestion. It's an algorithm. You just, whatever the algorithm tells you to do, that's what you'll do. But we have that BBP suggestion at some point. Of course, we get the knockers later on in the show as well. Next game is Tampa and Boston. 8 total. Bayo taking on Baz. We mentioned it, Roman Anthony making his MLB debut, 21-year-old. Not in the DraftKings pool. He is on FanDuel at the very appealing asking price of, 2.2K? That's what I'm being told. It's weird. He's like, his name is phased out on the FanDuel lineups page too, but I haven't logged in, but everybody's telling me that he is available there for 2.2K. So that's a bit of a bargain. Baz and Bayo, 2 pitchers that people want to like. It seems have been touted, and they've been kind of underwhelming. And they've had their moments. Not the best environment also for hitting baseballs today. It's 60 degrees, wind blowing in Boston, about 10 miles per hour. Weather edge, not loving it. Where do we have Boston and Tampa?
Yeah, it's a weird game to process here, but I'm going to put Boston in tier 3 against Baz. I think he's solid. The lineup could at any moment go off, so I'm going to put him in tier 3. Tampa, I'm moving up to a tier 2. I just don't believe in the overall talent on Bayo, so I think he walks too many guys. He's not going to strike out many guys. The lefties in this lineup could have a good day against him, and so I trust Tampa to put something on the board here. I like Tampa in tier 2.
Tampa tier 2, Boston tier 3. Still no Marlins lineup, which is starting to get kind of weird. We got the Padres: Tatis, Arise, Machado, Merrill, Sheets, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Wade, and Diaz. Still waiting for Seattle, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Athletics, and again, no Marlins just yet. We did get a winner for today's Movie Monday. We'll play it out. We'll play out the string. We'll drop the rest of these clues. But we did get a winner in 3. Shout out to Dunk in the chat, Dunk101 in the Discord channel, getting juiced up with scores and odds. You can get scores and odds as well. Either, whichever happens to be your preference, winner's choice. All right, next game here, we're talking about Atlanta. The Braves are in Milwaukee. Aaron Savali, Chris Sale, probably the most popular pitcher on the bump, taking on a Brewers team that is not terribly imposing. We got a couple lefties, 3 lefties to be precise. One is Christian Yelich. He's really good. Frelick, Terang. They buried Terang in the 9-hole because the lefty is starting. Braves, Brewers, what do you got?
Oh, boy. Okay, let's start off with the Milwaukee stack against Sale. I mean, no thanks, man. Every once in a while he does have a really bad game, but I just don't like playing that. Like that's what some people will tell you. Yeah, but what if he's going to be so highly owned? What if? I don't have endless money to stack against a guy like Sale every slate and hope that that one time a year that when he's highly owned that it comes back. Like it's just so I'm not going to do that. So they're a tier 5. Milwaukee's a tier 5 because I just don't have any interest there. Now, if you have Dean money and you can get down on the 10th row of the hockey game, so you just you're just printing money, stack against Sale by all means, man. If it's not going to hurt your pocketbook, I'm not going to do it. So that's a tier 5. Atlanta on the other hand, I do like that offense tonight. I'm going to put them in tier 2. I know Savali's just come back recently this year, and but I just don't see. I don't think he was ever that much of an imposing pitcher. So I think Atlanta. By the way, Atlanta is in do or die territory. They need to start winning games.
Keep losing.
Yeah, they need to start winning games, going on a run offensively, because it's not going to happen with their pitching. They need to start going on a run offensively, or else they are absolutely not going to make the playoffs. The odds are already against them, so I would expect them at some point in the near future to put together a nice offensive run. Maybe it starts tonight.
They are 14 games back behind the Mets They're 2.5 games behind the Nationals. They're 27 and 37.
And it's not even that, Dean. Tell you what their main problem is. Look at all the contenders in the National League that they have to leapfrog. Those aren't just like some, that's a bad team that just got off to a hot start kind of thing. There are some legitimate powerhouses in the National League that they would have to jump over. They're in trouble.
So, what's interesting about the Braves? They're 27 and 37, and I see Derek saying they keep losing one-run games. I have seen that note. I don't have their one-run game record in front of me, but they've scored more runs than they've given up. They have 3 more runs for than against, and they're 10 games under 500. Just they're winning games 15 to 2, and they're losing games 3 to 4. I guess that's kind of what it's telling me there. This is the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants are basically in a 3-way tie. Did you know this? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The National League is very strong. So who are the Braves who's gonna get bumped in order to get the Braves in there, or somebody like the Mets, the Cubs? They're not going anywhere. The Dodgers ain't going anywhere. San Diego's always a quality team. San Fran's been good this year. Philly, can you imagine Philly not making the playoffs? I can't. So Philly's
probably not.
Good. Yeah, and then you got some really good teams, solid teams like the Cardinals in Milwaukee. You'd have to leapfrog, several of those teams to get in there. Arizona is good, and they're sitting under 500. So I don't know, man.
They lost Burns, big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah, everybody had thrown dirt on his grave anyway, so not a big deal.
6 years, $210 million signed in the offseason. Look, you probably shouldn't sign pitchers to that kind of long deal. Like, how often does it actually work out? It seems so rare. But I understand why teams do it. But, man, that one's going to hurt for sure. Detroit has the best record in baseball. Is that confirmed? I think they do. 43 and 24. Mets are 42 and 24. Yeah, that Detroit pitching staff. Skubal is far and away like the best pitcher in baseball, on his way to our Cy Young, barring something goofy happening. We did get the second Spidey bomb dropping, by the way. I think it was Barger. Pretty good number on it, too. I saw TJ drop it up there and scrolling. Keep hitting that like button. You get more Spidey bombs. So just do subscribe, turn on those notifications. 25, 30 minutes or so, we get crunch time. We're going to have some time for some questions, I think, Chop. We're flying through this slate for whatever reason. You got STL cards jumping on. Day Potts, CheeseIsGood. Derek Carty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz. Yeah, there's a Barger at plus 680 is the second Spidey bomb. I'll drop the fourth clue for Movie Monday. Chop, I know you're still playing.
I'm not. You said somebody guessed it. I ain't playing no more. Somebody guessed it. Somebody guessed it.
You know the answer, though. You could still play along for funsies.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'll play along, but I'm not. Okay, I'll play along. But if I get it right, then I drop it in our private chat. Subconsciously, you're thinking, oh, he probably looked at Discord and he already knew. That's probably. I'm just saying.
I know you respect the game. You wouldn't do that. Picture, sign, sing, hands. Hands is the fourth clue. Picture, sign, sing, and hands. That is your 4 clues. TJ dropped the Spidey bomb for Barger. It's a good segue to the next game. Jose Barrios taking on Andre Palante. 8.5 total. Toronto is the slight dog here. Barger's been pretty good. It's weird about Palante. He's just been really good as far as getting ground balls. But when he's not getting ground balls, the ball goes over the fence, right? He's got the best ground ball rate on this slate. His total fly ball rate in the season is 25.6%. So, yeah, when you get 1.5 homers per 9, despite having this massive ground ball lean, where do you have Toronto and St. Louis?
Yeah, I was digging into Palante's home run numbers today, and some regression is definitely there. Bringing back down, those numbers are very, very high. Home run numbers are very high. That should stabilize a little bit at some point. So I wanted, some of the home run numbers, I wanted to put Toronto in tier 2, but then I was like, no, at some point, almost 26% home run to fly ball is that's not gonna be like that forever. So I'm gonna put them in tier 3. In fact, I'm putting St. Louis in tier 3 also because I think Barrios is a decent pitcher, decent enough to go out there today and not get totally shelled. And then if you once he leaves the game, if it's a close game, you're getting a top 5 bullpen in baseball. And that's not a great way to stack. Like, I'd rather have a weaker bullpen out there. So both these teams go in tier 3. Palante, because like the ground ball, a lot of ground balls, and the home run stuff should even out eventually. And he's a pretty solid pitcher when he's not giving up bombs. So tier 3 for both of these two teams.
I'm looking at the board shop, and nobody hanging out with Earl Campbell. Campbell's all by himself. Maybe that changes. I don't know. That's the way we see it right now. We have 3. If you guys are joining us late, by the way, we have power ranked Earls. Earl Campbell. TJ already assuming where one team's going to go later on. I see what he's doing here. DMX is Earl Simmons. In the second tier, or Earl Boykins, who played 10-plus NBA seasons despite being 5'5". I don't know why I was taking shots at my name as Earl, but they're in the 4-hole. Never seen it. Only like in 5-second doses, like the preview or something like that, in between watching the game or something. And then, crooked referee at times, Earl Hebner, in the 5-hole there as far as our Earl power rankings. Chop, you did guess it correctly, by the way. Of course, people are going to assume that you might have looked at the Discord channel. I would never assume that, but you did guess today's Movie Monday correctly. Well done, Chop. It doesn't feel as good, though, because somebody already got it. I see you shaking your head.
Yeah. Terrible. It's like winning the third place medal at the Olympics.
You're on the podium, man. You're on the podium. That's pretty good.
Sad.
All right. Moving along. Athletics, Angels. We just got the Angels lineup. It's Neto, Shonwell, Trout, Ward. It's Darno, not Noah Hoppy. So Darno in for Ohapi. Chris Taylor is in the lineup. Adele, who's been splashing his power of late. Scott Kingery and Newman. That's Kevin Newman, right? You never want to play Kevin Newman. Just zero pop in that bat. There you go. You want somebody to mush, and all of a sudden a homer. There's your mush of the day. Kevin Newman. No A's lineup just yet. Kikuchi versus Springs. 9 total. To me, this looks like if you're into the game stack stuff, you don't have to force it. Just kind of happen organically. But I do like both sides of this game. The Angels more so than the Athletics. I do like homer hunting with the Athletics because of Kikuchi's fly ball issues. I have my shell lineup has Muncy in it just because he's cheap. It might have Urias as well. And I have the backup catcher too, just because I wanted to save some salary. But Rooker to me is like the clear and obvious best play on the Athletics side. What do you got?
What I've got, Dean, is a couple of pitchers that their underlying numbers, XFIPs, Sierras, all that, whatever you're into, says these guys are below average, despite, what their ERA might say. They're below average. They both give up some walks, quite a bit of walks, high in terms of what the MLB average should be. They both, relatively high fly ball guys, especially Jeffrey Springs, but they're both fly ball guys. And they're both backed by very porous bullpens. So one of these teams, can't say which one, but one of these teams could go off tonight. I'm going to put Oakland in tier 2 just because I think Kikuchi's a little bit better than Springs, and we'll put them in tier 2. But the Angels, for that ownership I'm seeing on them tonight, I'm going to put them in tier 1. I think they've got a legit chance. Now, I don't like the starting lineup. That Ohapi, I really wanted. In fact, I tagged him, man. I might have to go do another tag, but I think he was a solid source of power, and we're not going to get that. But I was looking at the lineup earlier and the projected lineup, and with Trout back, it's really solid, man. Really solid. So
Darno's cheap though, which is something that he's useful for his price.
He's certainly a guy that could be part of the stack. He's just not quite as home run talented as Ohapi, but that's okay. I still like the stack a lot. So tier 1 for me.
Yeah, no Rengifo as well. Newman in there for our projected lineup. Had Rengifo and Ohapi, Darno scooting in there as well as Kevin Newman. All right. I think it's 2 more games left, and then 2 more games. Crunch time around the corner, about 15, 20 minutes or so. Dodgers taking on the Padres. Dustin May Nick Pavetta. If you have any questions, again, whatever questions are you still upset about the Earls? If you have any questions in regards to the slates, by all means, we're gonna have some time. I think we're gonna have time. Dodgers, Padres, Pavetta taking on Dustin May. We mentioned that the Padres lineup is out. Is the Dodgers lineup out? Did that just drop on us? Oh, Kurtz was activated for the Athletics. He's a lefty though, right? So I'm pretty sure he's a lefty. So I'm not sure how much that matters for tonight. He might start, but I don't really love him left on left versus Kikuchi. But going forward, that is of note because they can use a bit of a power surge. By the way, they're saying Yuri Perez expected to throw 80 to 85 pitches. Chop. That's the expectations.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Sign me up for that, man. If you could tell me, the other thing is, like, the game goes into delay, he's not going to be needed. I mean, if you can pitch 5 innings, who cares what happens after that? Weather-wise, if you're not sure or you're not aware, it's currently orange there. I just believe in the skills. I believe in the skills of Perez, and I think he's, skills-wise, one of the best pitchers on this slate. Obviously, kid gloves and all that, and Pittsburgh stinks too. So I'm thinking about it, but I'm very nervous because of the weather. Okay, Dodgers, Padres, what do you got?
Certainly the real-life game of the night. Great series coming up here between these two teams. As far as this game stacking-wise, though, two good offenses, different types of offenses, different styles, but also two good pitchers tonight, really solid pitchers. I think there's going to be better shots later on in this series to stack. So I'm on the fence about these guys, which puts them both in tier 3 for me, San Diego and LA, both in tier 3. I just don't know how much we're going to get in San Diego, which is a pitcher's ballpark in general, from two good starting pitchers. I just don't know how much we're going to give up here as far as runs. And then once these guys exit the game, again, this is a theme of mine here, you're getting two good bullpens behind both these starting pitchers. That makes it even harder for your stack to go off. So I'm going tier 3 for both of these. I'm really on the fence here. So tier 3, both LA and San Diego. But good real-life game. I'll be watching for real life.
We have no extreme umpires projected. Nothing just yet for Springs and Kikuchi. But the other games, nothing extreme as far as extreme pitchers, extreme hitters. Just wanted to note that. Some people like to know about the umpire stuff. You can get all this, by the way. You can get all the data, all the stuff we're spewing out there. Dave's article, the survey that Chop's talking about, the rankings I did today. That's just baseball. You can get football, baseball, basketball, hockey, all the sports for what? If you commit to 6 months, you get 35% off the price. Now, if you want baseball a la carte, it's the same price. So if you're playing just baseball, sure, have at it. Enjoy your baseball. But we've made it now where you can get all the sports in a package deal: football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, NBA, whatever's left of it, PGA, WNBA, all for one price. Scores and odds is also a thing. Props and pick 'em. We have all these stuff in the description, depending on what your needs are. If you're in the player prop world, the player prop streets, you're at Prize Picks or Underdog, all that stuff for your needs. Do check out the links there in the description. Again, just one game to go. Last game here, Chopper, and I was waiting to see if we get some lineups. And wait, hold on, my lineups just disappeared on me. I gotta refresh something. Yeah, we got the Diamondbacks. It's Corbin Carroll, most popular team on the board as far as team total. Perdomo, Naylor, Suarez, Gurriel, Smith, Thomas, and Herrera. So they still have their backup catcher in there. Ooh, Shannon is saying BBP Machado. I'm not sure if that's a precursor for what's to come when it comes to the BBP suggestion of the day. Don't Chop knows he's on top of it for sure. Emerson Hancock taking on Merrill Kelly. No Mariners lineup just yet, but we did mention they DFA'd somebody to give us the assumption that Canzone is going to go ahead and draw that start. They DFA'd Tavares. Leody Tavares is no longer playing baseball for the Mariners. Where do you have Seattle on the board? And not just Seattle, but Chalky, Arizona.
Yeah, it's DFA season because Lamont Wade got DFA'd too this weekend. RIP Lamont Wade.
Somebody picked him up, though.
Yeah.
Traded too, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
the Angels, I think.
Yeah, when
you get DFA'd, you have like 30 days to trade them or cut them.
It just means you can't go back to the minor leagues anymore. That's it. So you're out of options. Either trade them or they got to go. So, yeah, Lamont got traded for some money and stuff. But
he's on the Angels.
And by the way, Lamont Wade's numbers, a lot of it said he was unlucky this year. So maybe they got a good deal there, man. Maybe he adds to an already pretty solid offense. But I don't know. All right, let's get back to the
ballpark too.
Get back to the real deal here, Dean. We're doing with Arizona, Seattle. So Merrill Kelly been solid this year. I don't know how much I want to stack against him. Seattle, I put him in tier 3 pre-show. I guess now looking at the board, let's put him in tier 4. I have no desire to stack Seattle. I'm making a call on the fly here, moving them to tier 4. And Arizona, another team up in tier 1, got to put them there, no doubt about it. Emerson, I'm saying it all year long. Emerson Handjob, not the guy I want to be. Not only rostering
that full sentence.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Dean. Big team total here, good offense, bad pitcher. We're going Arizona. It's a little bit chalky, but you know what? Like I said in the survey, I think there's ways you can just don't go. Okay, so Marte's a great home run bet. Just don't go Carroll plus Marte as part of your stack. You'll have, you just get different somehow in there. I think we can do that. So Arizona, tier 1, love this game tonight for them.
I'll go ahead and drop that 5th clue for Movie Monday for those that are still playing and those that have not just gotten the answer. It's Oscar. Oscar is the 5th clue. We'll tell you how we got there when it comes to the movie. We had a winner on 3. Chop took it down in 4. By the way, somebody in chat said Machado is a BEP special, and this is more your wheelhouse than my wheelhouse, Chop, or at least your algorithm's wheelhouse. So 30 at-bats, 7 hits, 4 singles, 2 home runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, a 233 average, 2 homers, and that's not – he has 2 home runs, and good for him, but he's got 30 at-bats. Like, that's not great. That's not a BEP special.
There's a reason Manny Machado did not even he didn't even get spit out by the algorithm. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a huge sample. Of course he's going to get 2 homers and 30 at-bats versus basically anybody. I'm curious who we get to when it comes to the BEP play of the night. But let's go ahead and give a recap as far as the board. Chop, I'm going to throw it to you. And again, feel free to load up some questions. If you have any questions, ask us in the YouTube because crunch time's about 10 minutes away. You got Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, Derek Carty, CEO of the Bats and the Blitz, as well as the human computer, STL Cards, jumping on in about 10 minutes or so. 2 teams up top. We power ranked Earls. 2 teams hanging out with Earl Campbell. That'll be the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Anaheim. And Anaheim as well. For some reason, it's like a total brain fart. I forgot what the name. Oh, yeah, they're the Angels. I don't know why I forgot the name of their team. It's Earl Simmons, DMX in the 2-hole. That's Cleveland, Tampa, Atlanta, and the Athletics from parts unknown. Right smack in the middle, Earl Boykins, all 5'5" of them. It's Boston. You probably round it up, too. It's probably like 5'4" if we're getting technical. Boston, Toronto, St. Louis, the Dodgers, San Diego, hanging out with my name is Earl. Jason Lee. That's Pittsburgh, the Marlins. That game officially is dicey. It's currently orange. Buyer beware on that one. Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Seattle, and then the crooked referee Earl Hebner in the 5-hole. 2 teams there. Probably the first time all season long. I don't know. I don't have a spreadsheet that keeps track of every single game. But the Cubs in the 5-hole, as well as Milwaukee. We dig into the Athletics lineup, by the way. It's Butler, Wilson, Rooker, Soderstrom, Muncy. Kurtz is officially back. Urias, the backup catcher, McIver, as well as Clark, the speedster, good outfielder. Chop, knockers, and BVP suggestion. What do you got?
BVP suggestion of the day. Yeah, this one jumped out, Dean, believe it or not. And I was a little shocked too, but this one jumped out like a sore thumb. BVP suggestion of the day, we're going with the Black Magic Dominican, Carlos Santana.
No.
Yes.
Hold on a second. What is his BBP? And what is his nickname? What is this?
Black Magic Dominican.
Is that a real nickname? I don't think I've ever heard that before.
You never heard that?
No.
Never heard of Carlos Santana?
I've heard of Carlos Santana. I've never heard. And also, it says Wade Miley, who he might just get one at bat against, like legitimately might just get one at bat against. And he's had 15 at bats in his career against Wade Miley. Most of those are probably from 7 years ago or more.
Yeah.
But
we're fine with that.
Oh, you're thinking of the musician? Is that what's happening here? Is that what
I'm thinking of what? I'm not thinking of nothing. I'm seeing it, Dean. I'm not thinking. I'm seeing it and saying it. Carlos, his nickname is the Black Magic Dominican after Carlos Santana's Black Magic Woman, but they changed it up, and that's been his nickname for a while. Dean, goodness gracious, I gotta just spoon feed you this stuff, Dean.
No, I know the song. I'm aware of Carlos Santana, the musician.
Here's the thing. I know this is his 15th year in the league, and this is all. But see, we're taking into account the fact that even this year, 15 years into the league, Carlos Santana still has this year under 18% K rate, almost 13% walk rate. He's still seeing the ball really good these days. At 330 WOBA, weighted on base this year. Like, he's still a really solid major league hitter. So I don't think the skills have diminished. The algorithm doesn't think the skills have diminished in Carlos Santana. So, he's the BBP suggestion. Okay.
If I may, Chop, this season, he has 60 at bats versus lefties. Do you want to know you want to guess what his ISO is in 60 at bats versus lefties?
No, I don't.
I mean, just take a guess. I'll tell you this: if his ISO was playing blackjack, he wouldn't bust. That's
Here's the thing, Dean. Where I will say that Carty is on the right path. Not all that stuff is sticky. The lefty righty stuff. Some of it is about what type of lefty you're facing. He loves this release point that Wade Miley brings to the table. He's a big fan of this release point and arm angle, the arm slot, lefty, the arm slot from Miley. So Santana likes it. So I don't know. The proof is in the pudding there with the BVP. So that's where we're going. Carlos Santana. Now, knockers. You wanted you some knockers, Dean, here tonight.
Sure.
You ever open up your book and you look at a pair of knockers and think, boy, those are some angels right there. So some angels staring me in the face with those knockers.
What book am I opening?
Well, maybe Busty back in the 1990s. You were opening a book called Busty.
I just learned about the existence of books earlier in the show, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. So I got some angels knockers for you. Taylor Ward, and the slate breaker himself, Joe Adell. Boy, he's been. You can't lie, Dean. He's won some GPPs if you rostered even the last couple of weeks.
He's got a lot of power in that bat.
Yeah, Taylor Ward, Joe Adell. I think they're going to get. I think some home runs might be coming tonight for the Angels. So that's my knockers, little angels in the outfield.
Chad is giving other suggestions. Josh Lowe, apparently 7 for 17 against Bayo. For some reason, didn't work in the algorithm. And AI, the AI Google is telling me that Carlos Santana's nickname. I have heard Slamtana. I can't imagine they still call him that when he's got a 20 ISO, at least versus lefties. And El Oso? I never heard El Oso. I remember El Oso Blanco.
Oso, the bear.
Yeah, El Oso.
You know where I know that one from, Dean? Oso. Carty knows Oso.
Well, I know El Oso Blanco used to play for the Braves, the White Bear. I can't remember that guy's name. But how do you know why is El Oso popping for you?
Oso from Snowfall, the wrestler. His name is Oso.
I haven't seen it. I heard it's good. FX show. There's a lot
Incredible
of things
show.
to watch. I'm trying to watch everything.
That one, honestly, Dean, I've given you a lot of suggestions over the years to watch. You probably still haven't seen the Mel Gibson.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you probably still haven't seen that one. But, yeah, as far as TV shows, man, Snowfall got to be near the top of the queue.
Shout out to STL Cards.
Oh, Dean, by the way.
Evan Gaddis. What do you got?
We got time. No spoilers. Please, guys, no spoilers. Please, no spoilers. I'm on my last 2 episodes of Handmaid's Tale. Tonight and tomorrow, I'll wrap up Handmaid's Tale. I'm not going to lie, Dean. I'm tempted to put that one like top 7, maybe top 5 of all time for me. Have you ever seen it?
I saw like the first 5 episodes. I thought it was fine, but not fine enough. I thought it was fine.
Whoa.
I wasn't like hooked though. I wasn't hooked. I thought it was fine and interesting, different. And there's like 7 seasons. It's a big investment.
This is the 6th season,
Okay.
6th and final
It's
season.
over?
This is it,
Yeah.
6th and final. I don't know, man. I just found it to be like
it doesn't fall off. You think it's the story holds?
Well, I mean, you get through 6 seasons, you got to do things, but there's a story there, and I mean, but the overarching story of society breaking apart like that, a country fracturing, man, that rings as true right now today as it did when season 1 took place. It's so bizarre, but yeah, that Handmaid's Tale is phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Because I don't know about you, but I don't know, when I saw what is the thumbnail for the show and the show Handmaid, I thought we were dealing with and my wife wanted to watch it. I thought we were dealing with an 1800s, a show about the 1800s, and then we got there and the first episode slaps you in the face
dystopia.
No, yeah, this is modern day and this is crazy. So Handmaid's Tale is very good. I would highly recommend that.
I've not watched Accountant 2 yet. I do want to watch Accountant 2.
That was Friday night movie night.
That was last night for me.
Yeah.
That was Friday. You guys both seen the original Accountant, I assume?
Oh, yeah. A lot of times, yeah.
Did we like the sequel, John Barenthal?
I'll say this much. It's different. It's way more comedy, way more funny stuff in there, especially from John Bernthal. But yeah, and from Ben Affleck. So I mean, it was entertaining. Couple hours long, but it was entertaining. Couple hours.
Script nowhere near as good as the first one from a plot standpoint. There was a lot of plot things that if you really think about it, don't make any sense. But it was really funny actually, and I just love John Bernthal so much that I can watch him be a silly badass for hours, and I'm game.
He's very good. I'm a fan. I'll be watching it soon enough for sure and report back. Speaking of movies, let's go ahead and give the people the rundown on today's Movie Monday. Clue number 1 was Picture, which is in reference to this movie winning Best Picture, won Best Picture at the Oscars. So 1 and 5, kind of a combined clue. It was a best winning movie. I saw people in the Discord saying once the answer was revealed, I never even heard of it. It won Best Picture in the last 5 years. I figured enough people had seen it. It was also on Apple. Apple doesn't have a ton of movies, but I think it's still playing there. I would highly recommend it. Sign is in reference to, there's Carty. Carty's on top of it, jumping in. He's giving the answer. Carty knows it. He'll probably vouch for the movie. We'll see. Sign, it's about, Coda is the name of the movie. There you go. Spoiler alerts, which stands for Child of Deaf Adults. There's a child. Her parents are deaf. She's not. She's a very good singer. Hands is a reference to sign language with your hands. So, who took this down in the Discord earlier? Want to give the shout out to Dunk. Did it in 3 clues: picture, sign, sing, hands, Oscar. Was an Oscar winner. I know Choppy like to give me a hard time about me loving Oscar movies. It's actually a really good movie. It's a really good, sweet movie. And I think I know critically acclaimed as well, obviously, but I think it's anybody would watch this movie, would enjoy it. Have you seen it? Are you aware of Coda, Chop?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, yeah, there's a lot of movies that win those types of awards that are just, you can't watch them. I mean, you just Manchester by the Sea comes to mind for me. No, there's a lot of them. There's a lot. Even what was that one? The
Would
water.
You like Coda?
Yeah, it was all right. I also saw the one who was I don't know if it won, but about the hooker this year the dance for the stripper who.
Oh yeah, that's playing on Hulu. That's very good.
That? What's the name? Yeah, I saw that one. That one was all right, even though it's a little bit. Yeah, they're always just a little bit weird like that. Honora, yeah. So yeah, it was in that category. It was not bad. It's watchable, even though I don't like a lot of that Academy stuff.
Yeah, I liked Sean Baker's previous movie as well too, but we don't have time to get into that because I know Crunch Time is knocking on the door. They're here. We got Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood. We have Derek Carty. We got the human computer STL cards. 40 minutes until first pitch. Still, again, keeping an eye on that Pittsburgh and Marlins game. Orange, last we saw, we'll have an eye on to see if there's going to be a tarp there or no tarp. I'm sure there'll be eyes in the chat, and the cards will do his best to keep on top of it. Let's do it. Let's segue to Crunch Time right now. Carty, you answered. You were playing the game. Did you only have 1 clue or 2 clues to play with? How many clues did you actually see?
Oh, I don't know. I popped in and I saw them across the bottom for like 2 seconds, and I think they all kind of processed at once, maybe.
There you go. Do you want to give a thumb up to Dakota? You have any thoughts? Have you seen
yeah,
it?
Definitely. No, I watched most of the best picture stuff. I know it's not Chap's thing, but I like them. I thought Manchester by the Sea was gorgeous, just beautifully shot.
It's depressing, but it's a good movie.
It's depressing, but the plot and everything is depressing, but just the cinematography is like not. It's kind of cool. But yeah, Coda was great, and like Chap said, it's like very accessible. Like it's not a
yes. It's not for snobs.
No,
it's not for like highfalutin snobs or for the Academy necessarily. Cards, yeah. Dave, how we doing? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, sir.
We're doing fantastic. We got a lot of years of veteranship in this screen right now.
Oh my God! Somebody do the math. Yeah, for sure. I'll take the over on 50. I think.
Oh yeah.
The over 50 is a bad line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Push the books are gonna get hammered on that. We have to adjust that line quickly. All right, Chop. I got to get out of here. I got to go to the Panthers game. I'm excited. That'll be fun. That'll be good times. Game 3. Go Panthers. Appreciate y'all watching the first portion. Don't go anywhere. You got 38 minutes. STL Cards. Dave Potts. Derek Carty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz. Cards, take it away.
Thanks, Dean. Welcome, everybody. We'll get you squared away with crunch time here as we head up towards lineup lock at 6:40 Eastern time tonight. So 3 of the best. I think I'm the low man on the totem pole here with Cheese and Carty alongside. So I can just play host tonight and let these 2 guys take the reins. But you got myself, Justin Van Zuiden, Mr. CheeseIsGood, Dave Potts on one side. Cheese, what's up?
Not too much. Yeah. It's a weird, messy slate. I'm not actually thrilled about it. But we'll see what we find. We'll find something. It's really a weird tangle. I did not enjoy writing about it at all.
I perused your article a little while ago, and I came away with it to play one of the top 2 pitchers, and then I can play whoever I want after that.
Yeah, like it really was just like 3,000 words of me like write a paragraph about this guy and say, well, he's not great, but as good as everyone else, you can play him too. That's kind of
so maybe we can get the old Cheese versus Carty beefs going tonight. I don't know. We can find something to disagree on and go back and forth for a while. But Carty, how's it going? And do you find the slate more exciting than Cheese?
Exciting is maybe not the word. It's
find another fine. Adjective.
Yeah.
I mean,
fine is a good word.
Yeah, fine's the right word. I think it's fine.
It's fine. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if we can navigate it. I think it'll be interesting to see what ends up landing as the chalk tonight. We have had a couple of lineups get released in the past few minutes. So if you were waiting on some of those later lineups, the A's lineup just came out. Nick Kurtz is back for the A's, Athletics, Sacramentoans, whatever they want to be called, which makes their lineup maybe a little more exciting to look at.
Definitely the Sacramentoans. I like that. We're going
the Sacramentoans, but they don't want to be called that. So you can make up your own team name for them as well. But their lineup came out. I think the Dodgers lineup just came out as well. So all those lineups and projections should be updated shortly, and I think we got them both in the lineup HQ already. So, all right. With that, well, I'll let Carty start with the overview since I know Cheese doesn't like the slates very much. But what do you see from a high level tonight? I know we got one game with a weather concern. I'll pull up the forecast on that here in just a second. But Carty, what are you looking at from a high level tonight?
I mean, high level, it's one of these slates where where like nothing really sticks out as like, oh yeah, this is like really, really great. There's nothing that sticks out as like, oh yeah, this is going to be like really underowned. It's kind of just like everything's there. Like I don't see a lot of ways to like the ownership. I don't think is going to be super like spread out. So like, I don't think you have to do a whole lot to be different, but like there's so much sameness on the slate that it's like, well, just throw some darts. Like that's kind of the way I view this slate. I'm curious how Cheese sees it.
Yeah, as for the weather, the only game with a concern is in Pittsburgh. Can't imagine they'll have a big crowd there. It's not Paul Skeens pitching today, and they're hosting the Marlins. Scattered rain and storms, some of which may be heavy. They do have a severe thunderstorm watch in Pittsburgh right now. Certainly doesn't seem like it's going to rain all night. If you want to trust the weather.com future cast, it seems like, maybe they delay it for an hour and then it's fine after that. So I would tend to be inclined that they're going to get that game in Pittsburgh, maybe with a delay at the beginning. But we do have that as orange right now. Again, reminder, Ross not on this next few days here because he is out celebrating a birthday. So we'll do the best with the information that we get. And it does seem like I think they'll eventually be able to get that game in. So, Cheese, I'm sure that makes the slate much more exciting if you want to play the Marlins or the Pirates.
Yeah. When that makes a slate more exciting that you play Marlins and Pirates, it tells you what you need to know. And I was just on my phone taking something named Logan Davidson out of my lineup. Like, that's how dumb this slate is. Like, so, all right. So let's just do this. Let's say you should just play Chris Sale and Zach Wheeler in every lineup and be done. Not really literally, because when you start building, you actually don't have it. But like, there's nothing else that doesn't have massive, obvious downside. I would say Sale is ahead of Wheeler because of the matchup. And I think ownership will reflect that, but I don't think you play the ownership game with Sale and Wheeler. I think you just play who you want to play. And because Sale's a little cheaper and his matchup's a little better, I would start with him. He's my highest owned pitcher. There are actually a lot of lineups you can do on DK with both of them, but it's also, there's such a huge smorgasbord, we'll say, of mid-tier pitchers. Someone or two or three in that mid-tier is going to score as many points as Sale and Wheeler, probably. And if you could see that after the fact, you would just, of course, play that guy. Like if you don't get ceiling games out of Sale and Wheeler and you get like 25 DraftKings points, probably 2 or 3 of these random 7 to 8K pitchers beat that, or at least come close to matching it such that that's what you wanted in your lineup. But good luck finding who it is. I think that the 3 guys who get ownership will be Kikuchi, Ortiz, and Merrill Kelly. I like Merrill Kelly the best. Of course, he's also the most expensive. I have not a clue in the world what to do with Yusei Kikuchi. Like, this A's lineup is such like weird nonsense. It's essentially Wilson and Rooker are the only 2 major league right-handed hitters they have. Kikuchi is okay still against lefties. I can't play a guy who hasn't thrown a strike on purpose in literally over a month. He should, like, he's been a good pitcher for a long time, and at some point he should be able to find somewhere near the strike zone. But personally, until he does, I'm just not going to play him. I'm not going to tell you not to play him. Like, this lineup is ridiculous. And if you get even a fraction of last year's Yusei Kikuchi, he's great. Personally, I have 0. I'm playing Ortiz ahead of him, but Ortiz is kind of the same problem. Like, maybe he gets enough strikeouts and the BABIP goes his way, but he's walking everybody too. So that's why I prefer Merrill Kelly. Like, he can give up some home runs, but at least I know that he knows where the plate is. Like, I've seen him look at it and throw towards it on purpose. So I'm going with Kelly. And then when you get cheaper than Kikuchi and Ortiz, you just have the same downside with not even as much upside. I'm assuming Jeffrey Springs is still the bulk pitcher. They just said that Holman's going to start, which is actually a plus for Springs if it's still Springs. Springs and Bayo are like, they're kind of like Kikuchi. Like, they used to be good, and used to is not even that far long ago. Like, they used to be good last week, once or twice. But all of these guys are just all over the map this season, and I don't like them. And I'm saying a lot of words to say what I said at the beginning. I don't know what to do on this slate because it's all just kind of weird nonsense. So really the only sort of stand I have is I'm just not going to play moderately popular Kikuchi, just because I just don't know that he can throw a strike right now. Maybe tonight's the night he figures it out again, and that's fine. But I'm playing Ortiz instead of Kikuchi. And then I am playing some Mike Burrows because he's $6,000 on a slate where I think if you get 10 points for 6,000, I will take it. And I think he'll get 10 points. That's it.
Seattle's lineup just came out, so they're in Arizona tonight. Crawford, Rodriguez, Raleigh, Polanco, Arozarena, Tellez, Mastroboni, Young, and Williamson. Canzone is not in there, so that's the only change. Mastroboni's in for him. The Marlins lineup came out a little bit ago as well. Kyle Stowers is in the lineup for the Marlins as well, if the weather holds off in that game. All right, Carty, interested in your take here because you're, definitely by the numbers with the bat. I'm curious if the bat is telling people to play both Sale and Wheeler tonight, or perhaps just one of them, or perhaps neither of them.
I don't really want to say what the bat thinks tonight because the bat thinks that the bat thinks that Kikuchi is like almost on their level and is a lot cheaper. So
here's that beef. The beef I was talking about. It's coming.
It's only a beef if Carty says you should actually play him like 100%, which is what the bat would tell you. And I don't. Yeah, in real life, Carty would not tell you to do that.
No, I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm not going to tell you to play him 0%. Like I think am more willing to take a shot on Kikuchi than Cheese is. Like everything he said about Kikuchi is valid. He hasn't been able to find the strike zone. His stuff plus is the worst of his career. Like he doesn't look good. But the bat also doesn't like him in general. Like you look at Fangraphs and every other system has him as like a low 4 ERA pitcher, and the bat thinks he's nearly a 5 ERA pitcher. It's matchup and price. Like the matchup is fantastic. This is the worst lineup on the slate with the highest strikeout rate by far. And he's 7.7K. I would have some Kikuchi. I'd take the shot that he's not completely broken and he's just normal bad and gets through what is an even worse lineup. So that's where I'm at on Kikuchi. Sale and Wheeler are the top guys. I think I take the discount on Sale, but it's pretty close. They're both great. After that, though, like even the ownership on Kikuchi, like I don't think he's going to be that owned. Like I kind of really like him. I like taking shots on Luis Ortiz, maybe Shane Baz. But really it's kind of a slate where like once you get past that top tier, like the next like 10 guys are like the same.
Yeah, we have the chat asking a lot of questions. The YouTube chat anyways, polarizing opinions on Kikuchi as to be expected. Dustin May arguments being had. How about Yuri Perez being discussed?
Yeah, Yuri Perez was like a legit prospect, was really, really good. Hasn't pitched in forever because of injuries. He's coming back to a pretty good matchup tonight. He's only 7K. I don't mind some Yuri Perez in tournaments. The only thing is like what kind of leash are they going to give this guy? Like he's probably not going to go out there and give you a 100-pitch ceiling game.
Their manager said 80 to 85 pitches is what they expect for him.
That's about what I would expect. So yeah, I mean that's fine. I think there's other guys with more upside on this slate, but he is really good. So, I wouldn't rule it out if you really like it.
Cheese, anything else to add for pitchers or mercifully time to move on?
Yeah, I mean, really, the only two guys that I would say I wouldn't be in my pool if I had 150 are Hancock and Miley. Other than that, you play whoever you want, and I won't yell at you. Like it's all bad. It all has downside, and not much of it has upside. So I have nothing to add.
All right, let's talk stacks tonight. Offenses that are standing out. Again, there's not, weirdly, for all the bad pitching, there's not a ton of high implied team totals. I believe Arizona is the only team over 5 projected runs. So, Carty, what offenses are standing out to you before we go through the positions here?
I guess the Diamondbacks against Hancock are going to be my favorite. I think they'll be the field's favorite too. But it's like I said before, like it's a whole lot of stuff that just projects very, very similar. I think the Jays look good, especially at their prices. I think the Guardians look good at their prices. The Marlins. I don't mind if you want to do some A's stuff against Kikuchi in case he is broken. Like they're cheap enough where you can do an A's mini stack. I don't think I'd full stack them, but they're cheap enough where you can do some stuff. Really though, it's one of those slates where I don't know if there's a single. I don't think there's a single team where I'd say you're bad to play this in a tournament. Like literally every team is viable tonight, I think.
All right, Cheese, what do you like for stacks tonight?
Yeah, same thing as the pitching. Like, play anyone you want. Like, kind of the Diamondbacks are at the top, and then everything other than the Brewers and sort of the Cubs. You can even play the Cubs if you needed to, but take out the Brewers and the Cubs and just play all the teams evenly. If I had to pick a couple of favorites after Arizona, it's the West Sacramentians. Because of the salary. You can play Sale and Wheeler with them. Same thing with Cleveland. You can play Sale and Wheeler with them. The Rays, the Braves, the Angels. I'll say those are my favorites, but they're all tied for my favorite.
I mean, you could probably make a case for the Brewers too, because even if Sale goes 7 innings and the bullpen can easily give up a good
apparently
12 runs in a couple innings.
I was going to say 14, but yeah, I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, it's pretty jumbled tonight. Yeah, outside of Arizona, I don't think you're going to have a massive chalk spot. So pick your favorites, and you probably don't have to worry about ownership too much tonight. All right, Cheese, I'll stick with you. We'll start the positional breakdown here before we get to questions at the end. And as usual, let's start at catcher. What do you like?
Well, you know how it works at catcher. They finally got Cal Raleigh up to 6K, which is where he should have been for the last 3 weeks. I'm still playing him. You no longer just have to play him when he's $6,000, but he's way better than everybody else here. But assuming you don't have $6,000, like the 4K range is just kind of, it's okay. But I don't think you need to prioritize spending up if you're not spending all the way up. So I would do like probably Darno, Fry, or Danny Jansen. I'm just hoping that Cleveland knows Miley's going to throw 3 or 4 innings and they'll get a righty and then probably get another lefty later. So I'm hoping they just leave Fry in the game. And I've also got a little bit of Drake Baldwin. That's really it. Like nothing is great at any position. So if you can't afford Raleigh, I would just go cheap or in your stack at catcher.
And the SimLabs tool does like Baldwin quite a bit. He's got the highest optimal over projection tonight in terms of our projections. Carty, what do you like at catcher?
Kind of with Cheese, like Raleigh's great. The 4K guys are okay. Like Augustin Ramirez, Contreras, I think are both. Contreras, I think, is really interesting in tournaments against Sale. You get some of Cheese's favorite leverage. You get the platoon advantage. I like Contreras a lot. But I think value-wise, it's like the 3K guys. It's Bo Naylor. It's Alejandro Kirk. Maybe Real Muto or David Fry. Like those are the type. Maybe Darno is fine, I guess. Those type of guys are I think probably the the optimal way to go at catcher tonight.
Yeah, I saw somebody in the chat asking about David Fry as well. Some people just tuning in asking about weather concerns. Again, the game in Pittsburgh would be the biggest concern. My amateur radar meteorology skills would say it looks like there's a batch of rain that's going to be rolling through Pittsburgh here pretty shortly. But then it seems pretty clear behind that at 8 o'clock, 8:30. So if they're going to wait an hour or two, seems like it'll be all right, but definitely not risk-free there in Pittsburgh. I'll hit the refresh on the weather page. Yeah, no updates on there yet. All right, Carty, I will stay with you, and let's move it over to first base.
Sure. So the Bat X is stubborn and is still waiting for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to start hitting like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Power really hasn't been there this year, but all the StatCast stuff is the same as it's ever been. The matchup's pretty good tonight. I want to double check real quick what the weather is exactly, but I'm pretty sure this is some of the best hitting weather on the slate. 78 degrees, double digit winds blowing out. It's a good spot. So I like Vlad. You can certainly play Josh Naylor against Hancock. He might be the most popular if I were to guess. Wilson Contreras. Wow, my mind is just like gone tonight. Wilson Contreras against Barrios, I like for 3.8. Christian Encarnacion Strand for 3K looks like a really good way to save some money if you need to. And of course, Ohtani is fantastic and probably not going to be that owned tonight with kind of the way the slate looks. So I like Ohtani in tournaments.
All right, Cheese, what do you like at first?
I think my two favorites are Olsen and Jonathan Aranda. Just assuming that Naylor is like considered the more owned than them. I'm not sure he'll be considerably more owned than Olsen, but I prefer Olsen. Ohtani and even Freeman, like nobody's going to play the Dodgers, and Pavetta's good, but anytime you get Ohtani and even Freeman at like single digit ownership, Freeman will probably be like 3%. Like absolutely play a little bit of them. The cheap stuff on DK is fine. Encarnacion Strand is hitting well. I don't even mind Abraham Toro. Pavin Smith is one of the cheaper Diamondbacks. I think playing him instead of Naylor is fine. That's about it.
Let's see. I know that Chop on the previous show was talking about Carlos Santana because of his BVP, and I know that Carty subscribes to that. So
I am now in on Carlos Santana. Hearing that for the first time,
he has. And
Cheese, you are the biggest liar imaginable. You are not in on Carlos Santana BVP. Let's be real here.
And what's interesting about that BVP, it's probably one at bat.
It's 7 for 15.
No, meaning Miley probably throws one time through the order. So,
okay.
Miley's barely a starter, so I'm not sure that helps you tonight, even if it were real.
7 for 15, and despite his 0-20 ISO against left-handed pitching this year, it's we got people asking about it. So anyway, probably not on the radar for me. But
really, the key note there, like, there's nothing wrong with liking Santana against Wade Miley, BVP or not. But Miley's only barely the pitcher. Like, it's a bullpen game.
All right, Cheese, let's go ahead and move to second. What you got?
If you have money, it's definitely Marte. And then next, I think it's definitely Brandon Lau. After that, I think it's a pretty big drop. And at that point, I would rather save some salary. On DK, I'm actually ending up with a lot of Nolan Gorman and Davis Schneider, who were not on my radar to start the day. I don't even know if we had either of them projected in the lineup to start the day. But I think if you're not getting Marte and Lau, I really just like saving all the way down. Those guys do have power. So just give me the cheap guy who maybe gets lucky and hits one.
Carty, what do you like at second?
very similar. I'd throw Andres Jimenez into the mix too. A little bit more expensive, but also a better hitter, I think, than either of the other two. So one of those three makes the most sense. The top guys, if you can get there, great. I did mention kind of liking Miami stuff today. Xavier Edwards leading off, I don't mind, but I do think this is probably just a spot you save money tonight.
All right, I'll stick with you, and let's move to third base.
Jose Ramirez, I like a lot tonight. She's mentioned we don't know like what Miley's leash is going to be. I'm actually really curious to hear a little bit more of what you think about him, Cheese, because he is stretched out enough to go deep. Like he threw, I think 87 pitches in the minors like a week ago. Came out of the bullpen, a few days ago, but he's also Wade Miley. Like, do they really want him throwing 87 pitches for the major league team? Probably not. But like, what's kind of your take on that, Cheese? Because
I would say if he pitched magically, like if everything just went great, he could get 5 innings. But like, I think they are looking at him as, let's just hope we get 3 or 4 innings without being out of the game and then go onto the bullpen. Like I just look at what he did in the minors, topping out at 5 innings. He got that one start where he had some pitches. Like I don't think they probably view him as really a starter. I think they're seeing him as probably like the long opener. But sure, if he pitched amazing, I mean, he can go 5 innings.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, in any event, then, even long opener, I think Ramirez sees him at least twice, and it's a great spot. Ramirez is great. I like him. I like Austin Riley a little bit too, especially on DK. The cheaper stuff, you have Nolan Gorman, who probably fits better at second, but you can play him at third. You have Addison Barger, who's just homered in 9 straight games or something stupid. Not really, but it feels like it. And Connor Norby, I think, is really interesting. Again, I kind of like Miami stuff tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Barger is still 3,300 on DraftKings. That seems pretty cheap. Even though personal me hopes he doesn't do anything tonight. He's been hitting the cover off the ball. So, Cheese, what do you got at third?
And then, hold on, the one other thing I wanted to, Eugenio Suarez, is he going to be popular tonight? Like, I don't see him projected for a ton of ownership, but obviously, like Arizona, people are going to like kind of the best, and his power is really good. If people aren't going to play him, like definitely have some Suarez, but I'm curious, Cheese, do you think the projected ownerships are kind of off on him?
I think he'll probably be ahead of Riley, but similar, which is similar to Ramirez too. I think those 3 guys kind of split it up. Ramirez, Riley, Suarez.
Okay.
The problem is like a super deep position. It's probably the deepest position. And so everyone kind of has to get a little bit of ownership. So no one can really be chalky per se. And you're right about with Barger, like DK is just not adjusting salaries very quickly this season like they used to in the past. So you're getting guys like this for a while. And he looks pretty legit. Like obviously he's not going to hit 65 homers, but the power is real. So I'm very good with him, but I love the top 5 or so third baseman. Definitely on Ramirez. Love Riley, love Suarez. If we didn't have those guys, I would love Devers too. He's fine. And then I like Manny Machado quite a bit. I think he's the guy who will fly under the radar ownership wise out of those top guys. So I'm actually on DK. I'm playing Barger in the outfield and definitely playing Gorman at second if I'm using him. So outside of full stacks, this is a spend up position for me.
All right, I'll stick with you. Let's go to shortstop.
Not quite as amazing as usual. Always worth noting on FanDuel, O'Neal Cruz still has shortstop eligibility, which helps. He's really the only Pirates bat I would be playing today. He and LA are just always playable for any reason in any matchup. I think I prefer Zach Neto on DK with the $800 discount. And then the other expensive guys like Trey Turner and Mookie Betts, I don't know. I don't really have any. You can always play them, but they're not really in my pool. So one of the Cruz brothers, Neto, Jacob Wilson in A's stacks. I think Trevor Story's my favorite cheaper guy. Boz is really not pitching well at all for a long time and not well against righties really for the whole season. So I don't mind him. Mason Wynn is okay, but not quite as cheap as I'd like him to be. And that is all.
All right, Carty, what do you got at shortstop?
Did you mention Bo Bichette, Cheese? I didn't.
No, he's fine. I'm playing those other guys ahead of him, but yeah, he's fine too.
So I think he's more than fine. I like Bo Bichette a lot. I think the matchup for Toronto is good. They're one of my favorites tonight, if there is a favorite. Bichette's reasonably priced, 4.1K. So I like Bichette. I like Otto Lopez hitting cleanup for Miami as part of the Miami stuff that I like. And obviously everything that she said. I think Ellie is the top guy, personally.
All right, we got about 9 minutes left until rosters lock. We'll get to questions in just a minute. Again, we'll prioritize those in the RotoGrinders Discord, the live stream chat channel. You can hop in there. Even if you're not a paying subscriber, just have to be a RotoGrinders member, and you can get your questions into the live stream chat channel. All right, let's move to outfield. Carty, what do you like?
I like O'Neal Cruz a lot. I like Corbin Carroll a lot. I'd imagine Carroll's going to be the more popular of the two, but I have no problem playing Cruz at lower ownership instead of him in tournaments, or even Ronald Acuna at what's going to be kind of lower ownership at a comparable price and comparable projection. So I think that's the way you get off of Carroll chalk. Mid-range stuff I like. I like some of the Miami stuff. Jesus Sanchez in particular, I think is really good tonight. Lane Thomas looks really good hitting second against Miley. Lars Nootbaar hitting leadoff on the opposite side of the Toronto guys, and Davis Schneider for Toronto. Who am I missing? Those are the main guys that I like, I think.
All right, Cheese, what do you got in the outfield?
Yeah, Carroll's the one guy that I'm totally fine playing him as chalk. He's probably my favorite play on the slate. Brent Rooker, probably my next favorite with a little discount. Yeah, you get Acuna and O'Neal Cruz on DK are kind of the same thing as Ohtani. Like, you should always play them when they're getting something like single-digit ownership. But it is kind of hard to get more than one expensive outfielder in, and I like Carroll enough better that I'm still just going that way. I'm also on Nootbaar in the mid-tier. I like Tatis, a little bit of Ozuna, Taylor Ward. Alongside Lane Thomas, I've got some Joe Adell as a cheaper guy. And I think I mentioned when we were at third, I'm actually playing Barger more in the outfield just because I like third base so much. And that's pretty much most of it.
All right. Hopping over to the Discord for questions. Again, more questions on Pittsburgh. I'm sorry that Roth is not here. But it
sounds like that one's starting in a delay.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was looking for. I mean, I haven't found that from the actual Pirates account. I did see somebody that I wasn't sure if they were at the stadium or not announce that they would be a delay, but you never know. I haven't seen that from a official source yet. If they don't start in the delay, it does look like the rain is heading into Pittsburgh shortly, but it's kind of breaking up a little bit as it gets there, so maybe they'll be fine. If they don't delay the start, they got a risk of an in-game delay, so it's by no means safe to just roll the pitchers out in Pittsburgh. And there's 800 other pitchers that it's not like you're getting a can't miss guy in Pittsburgh tonight. So that's the last I'll speak on that. That game locks in 5 minutes. All All right, let's get to the questions. Cheese from Mark Flores. Prefer a Toronto or an Angel stack?
Pretty close. I prefer Angels, but they're basically tied.
Palante does get a lot of ground balls, so tough for me to stack against him most of the time. I don't think he's particularly great, but does get a lot of ground balls, doesn't strike a lot of guys out. Kind of comes down to the BABIP luck on that most of the time. Carty. BJ Tom says DK cash outfield. He's got 3,800.
Jesus Sanchez.
All right. Blink 182 Rue. Cheese. I'll throw this one to you. For large field DK tournaments, he's entering 3 lineups with 1 Arizona stack, 1 Jays stack, and then he just swapped out his Braves 5-man for a Mariners 5-man. Is that silly? And how much faith do we have that Springs is actually pitching for the Athletics tonight? So I guess that's 2 questions.
All right. I mean, I like the Braves considerably better than the Mariners. Nothing is silly on this slate if that's what you want to do, but I would have just kept the Braves personally. So the Holman being announced as the opener happened like while we started this show. So I simply have not been able to look into the Springs thing. I don't know if anyone else has news. For now, I'm assuming that he's the next.
Well, there was
in.
one day last week where he was like projected to pitch, and then he ended up pitching the next day, right? Am I remembering this correctly?
He did follow an opener. I don't think they moved him.
Yeah, I think he followed Holman. And
so I know what you're talking about. There was a day when nobody knew who was starting for the A's, and we said maybe it's Springs, but it wasn't. But it was never him.
That must be the day I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he did follow an opener. So the following an opener thing, I think, is probably what they're doing with him, which if that's the case, I think that's better for him.
It looks like beat writers are saying that's probably what's happening. Yeah. So I think it's a safe assumption.
They've got to be cryptic. They're so good. They've got to keep those thoughts close to the vest.
Yeah.
Carty, a lot of people are asking about Roman Anthony both tonight and long term. I guess FanDuel did add him to the pool, which has caused some issues, and I know he's a pretty hot prospect.
Yes,
what's his price on FanDuel? I didn't see that.
Please hold. I have to check. I'll have it in a second. I just had to flip over to FanDuel.
You go ahead and talk about him, Derek.
We have a start time from Miami and Pittsburgh at 7:20 Eastern.
So they've announced a 40-minute delay. The rain should be mostly through by then, so I think that game's fine.
Roman Anthony is probably the top prospect in baseball. People have good reason to be excited about him. The plate discipline is great. The power is okay, but it seems like people think long-term that it's going to keep developing, and he can have some really good power. He has some good speed. He's kind of like a 5-tool guy. And
he's 2,200 on FanDuel, by the way.
That's pretty, I mean, that puts him in the pool.
That puts him in the pool at 2,200. We know how I kind of feel about prospects, which is that they're probably not as good as you want them to be. But Roman Anthony projects about as well as you can hope a prospect will project.
All right. DK, GPP, Kikuchi, or Ortiz. Cheese answered that directly earlier with he's playing Ortiz over Kikuchi, and Carty said the bat still wants everybody to play Kikuchi tonight. So whoever you trust more.
For what it's worth, I bet some Kikuchi in the sports betting market while we've been on this show as well. They opened up with Kikuchi under 3.5 walks, which is just, you never see. Lines are 1.5.
1.5.
2.5 for the guys that are terrible. And 3.5, I've literally never seen before. So that either is a really good thing or a really bad thing.
It's bad. The dude has more than 4 or more walks in more than half his games this year. Like, that's otherworldly horrendous.
But like, is that going to keep happening? Like it can't, right? It can't, especially against the A's. They're the lowest walk rate team on the slate. It's not even like it's a tough matchup or anything. He's facing.
If he can do it to this lineup, if he walks 5 A's to this lineup, I think he needs to get demoted or retire.
Yeah.
This lineup, I don't know. I wouldn't bet any over. I wouldn't bet an over on him against this lineup. I mean, an over walks because
We are
I
at
don't know.
lock. It's just a couple of games that started now. We have a couple more questions in the Discord. I'll throw those out real quick. Cheese, any interest in a Toronto mini stack without Vlad in it?
I mean, I don't mind any of their cheap bats just kind of on their own. So if they happen to fit together and it ends up being a mini stack, that's fine.
All right. Somebody was asking, what about a red stack? That game has locked, so you're stuck with whatever decision you made on that one. Last piece in a Dodgers stack on FanDuel from Crazy Coop, Muncy or Will Smith, Carty?
I'll probably take Will Smith.
All right. And with that, we are caught up on the questions. And we are past the lock, so we'll go ahead and call it a show for tonight. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button on your way out if you haven't already. As always, thanks to TJ for working hard, producing behind the scenes for us tonight. Thanks to Dave and Derek for joining me. Always appreciate y'all's company. And we hope y'all have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. And we've also got the U.S. Open Golf Show tomorrow night, so should be a fun week on the sports calendar. NBA and NHL finals going on as well. So stick around. We'll be back later and hope you all have a great night. For Dave, for Derek, I'm Justin. We'll see you later, everybody.